Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. So today, it's time to talk about fossil Pokemon. Ladies and gentlemen, fossil Pokemon are coming back in the Pokemon trading card game. We've had two. I showed you videos on these yesterday. They were Rampardos and Bastiodon. I have good reason to believe that there will be another two coming either in this set or the following set, and I will tell you why that is as we go through this video. And it looks very much like the fossil mechanic is changing, so at this stage it is absolutely appropriate to talk about fossil Pokemon. And we need to start by talking about Mysterious Fossil. This is a card coming in Ultra Prism that was revealed and translated by the lovely Autobot Tesla, and well, it looks an awful lot like the old Mysterious Fossil, which came out as part of the, and this one might shock you here, Fossil expansion way back when. Although there is one huge difference, which we're going to get to in just a moment. So, this reads that it is a 60 HP Pokemon, which you can put into play, well, it can put it into play as a 60 HP colourless Pokemon, and you can discard it whenever you like, but you can't retreat. I.e., if it's in the active and you want to get it out of the active, then you have to discard it to do so. Alrighty then. Sounds like fun. This is not a basic Pokemon until it is put into play. Now, we'll talk about what that means in a moment as well. If we look at both Bastiodon and Rampardos, however, we see that they are Stage 2 Pokemon, which is weird because they're only actually Stage 1 Pokemon. What that tells us is that fossil Pokemon are just going to evolve from Mysterious Fossil. You put a Mysterious Fossil down and you can either evolve it into a Shieldon and then next turn a Bastiodon, or you can just rare candy straight into a Bastiodon. Sounds like an awful lot of fun. And actually, as we look at this card, it seems an awful lot like it is 4 fossils in one. We can see the Skull and Armor fossils, which evolve into Cranidos and Shieldon, that then evolve into your Bastiodon and your Rampardos. But we can also see here Root and Claw fossils, which evolve into Lileep and Anorith, which then evolve up into Cradily and Armaldo, the 3rd generation fossil Pokemon. And that's all on the picture of Mysterious Fossil. So, although we're getting Bastiodon and Rampardos now, I think it is incredibly likely that we will be getting Armaldo and Cradily either in Ultra Prism or in the next set. And what's kind of cool about this is that you will then be able to evolve Mysterious Fossil into any of these Pokemon, although it must then be noted, of course, that you can still only play 4 Mysterious Fossil in total, which could be kind of annoying if you want to play multiple ones of these. And of course, you could play a deck with both Bastiodon and Rampardos in, as long as you played enough energy. Don't forget that we've got Rainbow Energy here, which could count as any type of energy you like. But of course, we also need to mention Counter Energy. Counter Energy is 2 of any energy you like as long as you're behind on prizes, and it is attached to a non-EX, non-GX Pokemon, which as it stands at the moment, these fossil Pokemon are. So there is an awful lot of potential here for a fossil deck. When I talked about Rampardos earlier on, yesterday I believe it was, depending on when I upload this, but I'm pretty sure yesterday, I talked about the fact that the second attack, which is just Machamp's Takeout that allows you to instantly KO any basic Pokemon, was a really good attack, but for free energy it's actually kind of expensive. Well, that's okay, because Counter Energy brings the cost way, way down, and this has got to be a good thing. So I like the fact you can go for multiple Pokemon here. Now, one thing we do need to mention, there is a ruling query here. Can you start with it? Because it says it's only a basic Pokemon when it's put into play. Well, if we check the compendium, we get a very old ruling. It's a ruling from 2003 and then 2008. But it was when they were the old style of fossil cards, which is better. We'll get to that in a moment. And basically, yes, you can start with it as your active Pokemon at the start of the game. And you can even start with it if you have another real Pokemon on the bench. Now, if we take something like Talonflame, Talonflame can be your starting Pokemon, but it doesn't have to be, because it's not a basic Pokemon. It's got an ability that allows you to put it down. Even though Mysterious Fossil says it's only a basic Pokemon when it's in play, the old official rulings seem to suggest you can start with it, and more than that, if it's in your opening hand at the start of the game, you have to start with it unless you've got another basic. As with all of these, they're reintroducing an old mechanic, so we will need a definitive ruling on this. But we have an old ruling that says that even though they're only basics when they come into play, we still count them as basic Pokemon at the beginning, such that you can start with them, and you have to if you've got no other basics. The other big ruling query we're going to need answered is whether you can use a Bridget to search for a fossil Pokemon. Nowadays in the Pokemon trading card game, pretty much every person's turn 1 is just using a Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag to go and search for a Bridget, to go and grab yourself free basic Pokemon. So it makes a huge difference whether it is in fact possible to bridge it for a fossil. I'm going to assume no, because it's not really a basic Pokemon. But then again, if you can start with it, maybe you can search for it as a Bridget. Again, we will need rulings. And this is annoying, because I don't actually know how good fossil Pokemon are going to be at the moment, because we don't have these rulings. I'm using old rulings and best guess to give you what I think is a fairly accurate representation of what it's going to be. But honestly, I couldn't tell you with any definitiveness, which I know isn't a real word, but I'm rolling with it right now. I'm excited to find out, but if nothing else, what I can say is I would be stunned if Mysterious Fossil didn't allow you to evolve into any of those 4 Pokemon, which means it's really, really fun. The one thing which we do know, as annoying as it is, it does give up a prize if it's knocked out. Robo Substitute didn't give up a prize. It was very similar to Mysterious Fossil in this way, but Mysterious Fossil just doesn't have that last piece of text, according to people in the know, that says it would give up a prize. Little bit annoying. But the translation we have from Autobot Tesla says nothing about it not giving up a prize. It is not the new Robo-Sub. I would love it if it was a new Robo-Substitute. That would be amazing. For hit-and-run decks, this would be brilliant, but it's not. I loved Robo-Substitute when I played Donphan. It made me incredibly happy, but I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the same. It does give up a prize, which is kind of interesting, because if I remember correctly, the old one didn't actually give up a prize. It said it doesn't count as a knocked out Pokemon. Well, the new one, unfortunately, seems like it will. Again, there's nothing to stop it being translated differently when it makes its way over here, but for the time being, this is a translation that we have. And the last thing to say about this fossil mechanic, it is so much better than what we've had up till now. Look at something like Plume Fossil from Noble Victories. Look at the bottom 7 cards of your deck. If you find an Arch in there, you can put it onto your bench as a basic Pokemon. No! That's really awkward. That makes it almost impossible to get fossil Pokemon into play. So unless these fossil Pokemon turn out to be absolutely, stunningly, brilliantly amazing, then they're not going to be any good. None of them were. The closest we got was Archeops, which was a really good Pokemon, except nobody played Archeops except with Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. Even the people that played Archeops didn't actually play it the way it was supposed to, the way it was designed to be played. No, ladies and gentlemen, the old way of doing fossils was rubbish and terrible and garbage, and we didn't like it. The new way is so much better. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. I've given you my best guesses at the answers to those questions. We're going to have to wait until it's released and we get a ruling. One thing I can say is Rampardos, at least, was an incredibly exciting Pokemon that we talked about yesterday. And this fossil mechanic is better than it was yesterday. It's a better mechanic than we've been used to. So you know what? It is at least worth playing around with. That makes me happy. No WotC score on this, because really it's just looking at how fossils are going to work in the future, rather than being a review of Mysterious Fossil. Because you can't really review Mysterious Fossil. It's better than the old Plume Fossil, but really it depends on what it evolves into. I hope that was nice and clear. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. Tell me which fossil Pokemon you would like to be getting in the near future. Tell me who your favourite fossil Pokemon is. Let me know in the comments. Go nuts. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the WotC, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. I've not been streaming much lately to protect my voice, but on Tuesday, streams are starting again. It's going to be wonderful. Make sure that if you want to support the channel and get some bonus podcasts, that you go and check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far, the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.